Europe's national budgets in the hands of one single, unelected, intergovernmental organization? Is that the future of Europe?
Too late, Mr. Rothschild. You backed the wrong horse this time. Rothschild, you've lost your luck. Look at Rothschild. You'd think he was selling apples instead of government bonds. Until now at 53.
All right. I'll keep on selling till I tell you to stop.
You're creating something like a panic on the exchange, sir.
I know.
Other nervous investors saw that Rothschild was selling. It could only mean one thing. Napoleon must have won, Wellington must have lost. The market plummeted. Soon everyone was selling their consols, their British government bonds, and prices dropped sharply. But then Rothschild started secretly buying up the consols through his agents for only a fraction of their worth hours before.
Yes, bye. Have you had any news? What do you think about this rumor?
I don't listen to rumors, Mr. Baring.
You hear what they say? Wellington defeated. You might tell me what you're going to do.
I have no objection to all London knowing what I'm going to do. I'm fine.
What's even more interesting about this story is that some authors claim that the day after the Battle of Waterloo, in a matter of hours, Nathan Rothschild came to dominate not only the bond market, but the Bank of England as well. Whether or not the Rothschild family seized control of the Bank of England, the first privately owned central bank in a major European nation and the wealthiest, one thing is certain. By the mid-1800s, the Rothschilds were the richest family in the world, bar none.
Money is the god of our time, and Rothschild is his prophet. Ever since the second decade of the 19th century, there has been speculation about the origins and extent of the family's wealth, about their political influence, not only in the 5 countries where there were Rothschild houses, but throughout the world. The 5 Rothschild houses constitute an early version of what later became known as the multinational. Perhaps the most important point to grasp about this multinational partnership is that for most of the century between 1815 and 1914, it was easily the biggest bank in the world. Strictly in terms of their combined capital, the Rothschilds were in a league of their own until, at the earliest, the 1880s.
The ESM Treaty, we are now well on track to allow member states to proceed with the ratification process in time to have the ESM in place and operational in July this year. This ensures that the ESM will be fully effective when it enters into force. Spain has taken prompt action to address slippages in its fiscal position last year 2011, even though a gap still persists. I expect the Spanish authorities to substantiate the measures announced recently.
Are the European Union and its common currency facing a crisis? What can and should be done? The EU is planning a new treaty called the European Stability Mechanism, or ESM, a treaty of debt. Members of Parliament all have access to the draft legislation. The authorized capital stock shall be 700 billion euros. Question: why 700 billion? Where did that number come from? And by whom and on what basis was it calculated? ESM members hereby irrevocably and unconditionally undertake to pay on demand any capital call made on them within 7 days of receipt of such demand. Question: nothing really. That part is clear. If the ESM needs money, we have 7 days to pay. Taking normal bank processing times into account, that means we have 4 days to write a check. But what does irrevocably and unconditionally mean? What if we have a new parliament, one that doesn't want to transfer money to the ESM? Do we have to pay anyway? The Board of Governors may decide to change the authorized capital and amend Article 8 accordingly. Question. Pardon me? 700 billion is just the beginning? The ESM can stock up the fund as much as it wants to, anytime it wants to, and we would then be required, under Article 9, to irrevocably and unconditionally pay up? The ESM shall have full legal capacity to institute legal proceedings. The ESM, its property, funding, and assets shall enjoy immunity from every form of judicial process. Question. So the ESM program can sue us, but we can't challenge it in court? The property, funding, and assets of the ESM shall be immune from search, requisition, confiscation, expropriation, or any other form of seizure, taking, or foreclosure by executive, judicial, administrative, or legislative action. Question. Immune from judicial action was covered in the last point, but this means neither our governments, nor our legislatures, nor any of our democratic laws have any effect on the ESM organization? That's a pretty powerful treaty. Governors, alternate governors, directors, alternate directors, the managing director, and staff members shall be immune from legal process with respect to acts performed by them, and shall enjoy inviolability in respect to their official papers and documents. Question. So anyone involved in the ESM is off the hook? They can't be held accountable for anything? And does the inviolability of their papers mean we can't destroy them, or that we won't even be allowed to see what's been written? Treaty establishes a new intergovernmental organization to which we are required to transfer unlimited assets within 7 days if it so requests. An organization that can sue us but is immune from all forms of prosecution and whose managers enjoy the same immunity. There are no independent reviewers and no existing laws apply. Governments cannot take action against it. Europe's national budgets in the hands of one single, unelected, intergovernmental organization? Is that the future of Europe? Is that the new EU? A Europe devoid of sovereign democracies? Is that what you want?